Good afternoon. This is lecture number 1 in the online format. This is actually lecture 21 of our class. Welcome to our new paradigm here. So I'll be talking. This is the narrated version of the slides. You also have a handout or a PDF version of this posted to the website for you. You can just look through those. If you don't want to hear my voice, you can read them on your own if you want to get the extra info. The erudite learning that I may impart upon these slides, then you may watch the video for that. Today we're talking about at-grade intersections. We're picking up intersections, what we were doing before spring break. But first we have a special report from Will. If I can click this forward. There we go.
Hello everyone. Welcome back. Hope you all had a good break. Hopefully you are all alive and well so that you can hear all about this really cool project that just got completed just down the road from here in West Lafayette, Indiana. State Street underwent a big redevelopment recently. State Street is one of the main thoroughfares going right through the heart of the Purdue University campus. And so it underwent a big redevelopment. The project began in 2016, was completed in November of 2018, and then in 2019, this project was awarded the 2019 Complete Streets Council Best Project Award. It was awarded by ITE, the Institute of Transportation Engineers. This project was a collaboration between the Purdue University and the city of West Lafayette. And there's a lot that went into this project, but in the big picture, it basically transformed State Street from big, fast-moving, potentially dangerous multi-lane highway to a more complete street. And when I say complete street, that's basically an industry term that's used to describe a road that serves all roadway users equally. So, in addition to automobile users, it also serves pedestrians and cyclists and scooter users. There's a lot of scooters down there in Purdue, electric scooters that are really fun to ride. You should try it sometime. Maybe when we're not in a global pandemic, though. So, among the highlights of this project, like I said, there was a lot that went into it. Sidewalk improvements, just general sidewalk improvements. They also added more than 8,000 lane feet of cycle track, 12,000 lane feet of shared use paths, and almost 34,000 linear feet of landscaping, which mainly is there to serve as a buffer between the automobile users and the other roadway users, pedestrians, cyclists, etc. The total cost of this project was $120 million, and the benefits of this project has really been observed to be twofold. So in addition to improved roadway safety for all road users involved, this project has also resulted in $500 million in local investments, and has resulted in 3,500 new jobs in that area. So basically with the redevelopment of the area and the beautification of the area really, along with the big influx of pedestrian traffic, cyclist traffic, scooter traffic, it has made the area a lot more friendly to the introduction of like new businesses, new shops, new restaurants. So it's really, in addition to the roadway safety aspect of it, it has also really given the local economy a big shot in the arm. So, pretty cool project. Those are the main highlights of it. And I guess if you have any questions, feel free to email Professor Grossman.
Thanks, Will. Applause, applause, applause. Okay. Moving on, intersections. So before we were looking at the simple radii for turns, we had truck turn movements, we had car turn movements, and so forth. And now we're going to look at fancier stuff. and we call that channelization. So we're putting, instead of just arcing the edge of the road, we are now going to put cars into certain lanes. That's channelization. If we're putting people in certain lanes, putting vehicles in certain lanes and letting them turn from there, or directing them through the intersection from those lanes through that. So that's what channelization is. Sometimes we call it turning roadways, and so this is an example. You can see my mouse moving here. This is an example of an intersection design, and this is channelization. So we've got the specific lanes that are separated from other lanes through here. This is kind of a complicated looking drawing because it's got all this background stuff underneath it, but you can, this here we would call a turning roadway, and so that's our turning roadway piece through that. So the Astro Green Book and also most state guides, they have a section in here called turning roadways. It's a subset, I guess I would say, of channelization. Channelization is adding in these turn lanes through that. We can see that's that. And we can highlight these. Here's some islands, and so this is creating the channels. So we're putting vehicles into a channel. That's our channelization. And or here at a corner, we call that a turning roadway. And so the turning roadway comes around there. So this would be a right turn lane that moves into this turning roadway, and then it merges on to this lane going here off to the east. So that's channelization and turning roadways. Right. So we use islands. We use medians. If you're not going around a corner, we call it a median typically through that, and that gives us those channels that the vehicles will use through there. Why would we want that? Why do we want to do channelization? How does it help? What's the point of that? Oh, excellent question. Let's answer that question. Why would we want to channelize traffic? And those of you who drive here probably are pretty familiar with channelization and can think of locations where that is, right? Why do we do it? There's a lot of benefits to it, and we don't need it for low volumes. It's typically when we get into higher volume ones, right? So here's an example. This is from County Road 17 and County Road 10 up in Elkhart County. Through there, nice design on that. You can see here we've got islands. Here's one in the northwest quadrant, in the southwest quadrant, in the southeast quadrant through there. These would be turning roadways within that, so we've channelized that traffic. It comes around here. This northeast corner, we don't have one on there. Here's the bigger view over here on the right. You can see we've got these channelizations coming through there. Here is a right turn lane that comes down, and it follows through and merges on to this westbound traffic. Here's a northbound right turn lane that starts back here. You can follow this all the way up. That's channel. So we channelize the traffic now. All the right turn people are in the same channel, and then they're going to come around this corner up here. Whoop, there we are. Going around onto Bristol Street and turning. They're going to merge in here, going through there. Why do we like it? Because it's pulling traffic out and channelizing it by movement, by the same movement that people want to do. These two lanes over here, they want to go straight through. So these are two through lane movements. These are two left turn movements. So those are channelized. We've put all those movements together in the same place. Here is a right turn movement. It's channelized, and only people who want to turn right are going to be in this lane. Well, they make a mistake, but that's the idea, is we put everybody in the same lane that wants to do the same kind of movement. That makes the biggest reason we do this is efficiency. This makes our intersection more efficient. It also makes intersections safer. It's less confusing usually to drivers. If we do it right, it's less confusing. If we do it wrong, it can be worse through there. So do it right. That's the lesson there is, at a signalized intersection, the channelization helps you operate the signal in a more efficient manner. So as you know, in a busy intersection, you'll have a special left turn phase, and so these two left turn lanes are going to go at once. Same as this left turn over here will probably go at the same time. Then the through lanes are going to go on their own. The right turn lanes are probably free flowing, and so that's a big efficiency bonus to us, is to let that right turn just roll right on through by itself, right through there. So that's an example of channelization. Right. Here's a question: there's three islands at this intersection? Why not one up here in this corner? Why did that one get left out of there? Any answers? Think about it. I don't see any hands, so I'll tell you the answer. The answer is because that one doesn't fit right through there. So here is the line drawing for that overlaid on top of the aerial. You can see this is a left turn lane here. This is a through and right turn movement. All the rest of these where we have channelization and island have a dedicated right turn lane first. This one going northbound is the easiest one to see. You can see it coming up here And now, if we'd taken out that one lane, right, there really wouldn't be anything left except this little nubbin of an island. We don't want little tiny islands because people don't see them and they're not safe. And so we want an island needs to be just big enough, at least big enough, that it's easily recognizable and people will see it and stay off of it. We don't want people running over the islands, right? It's dangerous. Plus, these islands have traffic signal poles and some other hardware mounted on them, so it's pretty bad if someone were to run over that island, right? Actually, someone did run over this island once, knocked off this signal pole, just knocked it clean off. That signal pole is like 2 foot in diameter, and the little Toyota Tercel whacked that sucker at 3 a.m. and just sent it flying off. Person was fine, go figure, but they were drunk. However, they were able to cleanly shear off entire signal pole. It worked like it was supposed to. They are made to shear off so you don't kill somebody hitting them, but you wouldn't think a little Tercel could take down that big of a pole, but it sure did on that. But that was a case where that island's probably big enough, but if someone's inebriated, we can't solve that problem through there. This one, there wouldn't have been much left, right? If we tried to put an island there, it wouldn't have been very big, and it would have probably conflicted with trucks trying to turn that corner. So we did not put an island in this corner because there is no dedicated right turn lane. Why isn't there a dedicated right turn lane? Oh, excellent question. The answer to that is there is no dedicated right turn lane because this isn't a very heavy movement. There isn't much traffic trying to do this. These other ones, there is a significant number of people trying to turn right, and so that's why there's a dedicated right turn lane. So it's you model it, and you'll learn that if you take the elective next year as your seniors. You'll learn how to do that modeling, and that modeling will tell you, yeah, this is an effective use of the lane, or that would really help out our movements there, right? So back into the word side of this thing, channelization, we're separating conflicting turning movements, and we put them into a defined path. We do that with islands. We do it with pavement markings, just the line on the page, or not on the page, but on the pavement itself. It's a line on the page in the design drawings. But when we stripe the road, we can just do it with that way, with striping through there. We try to make traffic move more in a safe and orderly fashion. And we can use it for both vehicles and pedestrians, right? If we go back to this slide, right, these are crosswalks over here, going out to the islands, crosswalk over, crosswalk over. You can see them a little better here. Here's that crosswalk. This one's rubbed off here, and that one's been, too many cars have driven over it. They need to restripe that, right, through there and across there. So the other thing these islands do is it creates a safe refuge for pedestrians as they're crossing. And so instead of, this is a huge road, right? If you had to start here and walk straight across, you are in traffic for probably more than 30 seconds, right? That's pretty dangerous trying to cross, essentially 8 lanes of traffic through there. If you cross this lane by itself once, there's only one path through here. It's only right turn vehicles coming through there. You only have to look to your left, and then you're safe. You get here, now you wait for the walk symbol, and you're still crossing 6 lanes of traffic, right? That's not very nice, but that's a lot shorter than it could have been, right? And that keeps that path shorter. You get here, you can rest up here, you can take a breath, you're safe, hopefully, except for little flying Toyota Tercels, you're going to be safe out here, and then you'll cross that last one, or you can cross this direction, right, through there. So the channelization works for both cars and pedestrians. That's what the point of this slide was, right there. Looking at the T channelizations, to start off with, this is an unchannelized T road intersection. Excuse me. I am sick, so it is a good thing I'm not teaching, right, in class. You're lucky you're staying home through that. I've been sick for a week. I don't think it's COVID because I got a lot of snot, so I don't think that's a part of it. So it must just be a traditional cold. So sorry about the coughing. I'll try to keep it to a minimum. So this is a T road intersection. You don't really need any channelization if it's low traffic. And this is suitable for minor roads and local roads, right? For when you get higher speeds and you get a lot of right turn volume, this is where you could add in a right turn lane just for that reason. See there, I got an example of that coming up through there. Pulling right turn traffic over here will reduce the amount of, or the likelihood of having a rear end collision. Because if you slow down in this lane, the through lane, to turn right, then you're more likely to get rear ended. And so if you pull over here onto the right channelized lane, that's a safer movement, and it also is more efficient. Right, so now you're not slowing down all the traffic that's trying to go straight through the intersection. You're pulling over here and then slowing down, which is a better thing in general. For left turns, On a T road, you can add a lane on the far side here, so again, people turning left can wait there. If there is no one turning left, you buzz straight through here, right? You don't have to use this lane if no one's there. A lot of times we call this a passing blister, and so in our county standards we call that a passing blister. And different states call them different things through there. Sometimes a right-hand passing lane, or I've heard them called a bubble through there. We usually call them a passing blister through that. You can get more complicated. Right now we've got, not only are the left turns a problem, but also the right turns are a problem, and the merge on is a problem, or it's high volume, and so all those things can be channelized, and you can put islands in here. Right. This is a lot of islands, and we avoid islands if they're useful, but we don't want too many, especially in northern climates, because we have to plow snow. And how do you plow around all these islands can be an issue, and where does that snow go when you do plow around them, right? I probably wouldn't have put this island in like that exactly, or maybe not this one and that one. I would have picked one or the other through there, and so forth. But you can see there's a lot of different options and different designs right through there. So that's a plain T1, and then you have all these different options for T roads, right? And a 4-lane one, again, you can do an unchannelized four directional at-grade intersection if there's not that much traffic. So again, it's a lower volume roads, lower functional class, right? Just like we learned at the beginning of the class. This could be a lower functional class one. Now, if you've got a heavy right turn volume, you can throw in this right turn one here. If you've got trouble with people sneaking across these lanes and turning into driveways, that's a big problem near an intersection. Like out here on Sturdy, you've got the gas station, so here's the KFC, right? Here's Valpo. We have a median island through there to keep people from trying to turn out and get onto the road, or come down here and turn, because it's so close to that signalized intersection at US 30, it's dangerous, right? So sorry, KFC and Speedway people, you have to come around back here and try to sneak out around the end of that island, if someone is nice and lets you in over there, right? So you got a bunch of different options. Again, at high volumes with lots of people turning, you can get pretty crazy with it and put islands all over the place, right? Which may be appropriate if you've got a high turn volumes where you're at. So again, here's all those different options. This is the 4-legged intersections, 4 directions of approaches you can get on through there. It just depends on your traffic volumes, what's appropriate, right? Or where you know that you have a problem, maybe it's an accident problem, and you want to add those islands in there. It could be a pedestrian issue that you want to provide refuges for pedestrians if you have a high pedestrian volume. So near a university campus, it might be a better place to use islands for pedestrians, even if the traffic volume isn't as high as maybe some other places, right? Here's an example. This is channelization. This one has, this is north up here. We've got a right turn channelized coming down here with an island, a raised island through that. That right turn peels around here, merges on to that northbound through movement, right, through there. Southbound, there's a left turn lane, dedicated left turn lane that's channelized only by striping, only channelized by paint, right, here on the pavement through there. And those people can turn left and go this way east into town. This is near Goshen, so they'd be going into Goshen through there, right? So you may ask yourself, why is there no right turn lane? If you're going to channelize these two, why not channelize that right turn lane? Or why not channelize this right turn lane? The answer is traffic. Almost nobody's turning right here. It's a very low volume. So, excuse me. So there's no point to it. And actually there's not that many people going straight across. There's some. So you can keep those, we did the modeling of this, and you can keep those two movements together. So the through movement and the right turn movement are low enough by themselves. Even combined, it didn't make much difference. To add that lane in would cost a fair bit of money, right? Through the extra pavement, extra right-of-way, extra drainage stuff thrown in there. It wasn't much of a benefit of the operation of the this isn't signalized, of the operation of the intersection to add in that movement and pull that right turn lane by itself. Same with all these other ones. There's just not much movement. What everybody's doing is Goshen is over here on the right side of your screen to the east, and Elkhart is up here to the north. That's everybody's coming from here and going there, or coming from Goshen and going back to Elkhart. So this leg movement is where everybody's going. So these are the heavy movements. And that's why those lanes are channelized, because that's where the volume is. That's where people need it, right through there. So that's how we designed that one. Do that again. The excuse me, the right turn channelized lane is improving the operation of this intersection, because you can decelerate over here. You're not decelerating in the through lane. You're not slowing down cars who are going straight west. The westbound cars can continue on just as they were. No doubt. Through there, same with the southbound left turn lane, right? These cars used to be a single lane here. Everybody waiting to turn left was holding up everyone else wanting to go straight through or right, which were a lot of people, but it was enough. And that's a hit on your efficiency. And so it was a lower level of service. By channelizing that, now these right turn people and straight through people can still make their movements while they're waiting on the left turn people. So you get a better throughput, you get more cars through there, you get lower delay, you get a higher level of service, and so everything's happy through that. Properly channelizing, you can improve capacity. So in this case, we've improved capacity. We've got twice as many lanes coming up here. 2 people can go at once, right? So that's an improvement in capacity. You have an improved capacity here because you're not slowing down people moving straight westbound through that. So you can see how that's a capacity improvement. It's a safety improvement a lot of times. We've already talked about that too. Fewer rear end crashes. It's better for pedestrians usually, again, if it's designed well. And sometimes drivers feel better about it. They have a driver confidence issue. They know where they're supposed to be, and so they have they feel more comfortable with moving through your intersection. Okay, I know I'm supposed to be in this lane if I want to turn right. I know I'm supposed to be in this lane if I want to turn left, because I can see it's marked, and I know that's the proper place to be. So that's driver confidence through there. If you do it badly, you can confuse people, right? So out here on Lincoln Way, down at, what's that next road? It's not Roosevelt. It's the next one to Garfield. I think it's at Garfield. They've got 2 lanes striped, but they don't have arrows in either lane. So what lane are you supposed to be in? Generally the left lane, probably, unless someone's turning. Then suddenly you want to, if you're going downtown, you want to go straight through, then you're going to jump over into the right lane to get around them, right? So, but it's confusing. I've had more than one person tell me that one's a confusing location, right? So that's poor channelization. If you're going to channelize it, make sure everyone knows which lane to use, and it should be, ideally, you'd have a pavement marking, you'd have something painted on the pavement, and then you'd also have a sign on the side of the road next to it, and so you'd have a channelization sign next to it, right? So avoid doing too much channelization where you don't really need it, because that could just confuse people. Don't do too much, right? Just do enough. So it's the Goldilocks, right? You don't want too little, you don't want too much, you want just right. So remember that, huh? All right, objectives of channelization. We want to direct the vehicle so that 2 paths don't cross. And that's the other point with channelization, is when we have those left turn lanes, both people can turn left at the same time and their paths won't cross, right, unless they drive very badly. Right, so we've set it up, we set it up on purpose that they can both turn left at the same time without crossing paths. So that's the main point there. We can control where the merging and diverging and the crossing of vehicles occurs at, right? So we can move that merge point, if it's a right turn, say, back a little bit further away from the intersection, which gives people more time to think and see better, which is safer, right? Do that, and we can improve crossing angles by using these channelization devices as well, right? We keep people from wandering around. We're decreasing this vehicle wander in that conflict area, right? So we're keeping them in the channel. That helps us control where these crossing points may be, and that's a safer thing. And that's why we like to do this, right? We also provide that clear indication what the proper path is for each movement. If you know you're going to turn right, okay, I can see there's an exact right turn lane over here with the whole turning roadway, and around the curve I go, right? No problem there. We can do priority for predominant movements, and so we can emphasize those movements. Like that one example I just showed you, that southbound left with the westbound right turn, those 2 had their own separate lanes. That was those priority movements. We can provide pedestrian refuge. We can provide storage space. Storage space is where cars back up, right? So if you're waiting at a traffic signal, we're not storing couches and furniture there. We are storing cars, right? That's what that means by storage space. So that's that. And we also provide space for traffic control devices. I told you that one island was holding all of the traffic signal poles that hold up the signal heads out there. That would have been a really long reach for any other signal arm out there if we didn't have those islands real close. And so that saves us a lot of money by being able to put these signal devices close to the road, and we don't have to have as long arms on them or as long as span wires. And so we can save money that way through there. We also want to control prohibited turns. So if, like I said, by Sturdy Road there, at the KFC and the Speedway, we don't want people turning left into that, headed south on Sturdy, because that's a bad location and there used to be a lot of wrecks there. That's why they built that that median in there. Through there, we can control that. You can't turn left into that entrance into the Speedway through there. And so that's, you may be mad that you can't do that, but it's for a good reason, right? It's because of crash rates through there. So we can control those prohibited turns. We can also restrict speeds of vehicles, and the channelization will help control speed of vehicles to some degree. That gives them that closed-in feel, right? So I think this is about the end of the slides here, but this is an example of trying to control prohibited movements through that. This is County Road 17, again in Elkhart County, our favorite County Road 17. All right, this used to be, sorry, this is the entrance to a shopping center, and so a strip mall through here, all right, through that, and it was right on this. This is a 55 miles per hour, 4-lane undivided highway, so it's just got a double yellow stripe down the center of it. Through there, and there used to be no control here. This stub road used to come right here. Everybody come north here and just wing across this. This is about 40,000 vehicles a day. That's a pretty busy road. It's almost equal to what US 30 out here by the universities are running, maybe slightly less. But it's pretty busy, especially during peak times. There's a lot of manufacturing near here. So when the factories let out or are about to start shift, this road is really busy, right? And people will come up here and they'll just skate right across in front of other cars and get whacked. So southbound cars be hitting them. It's not pretty, lots of wrecks there, big trouble. So commissioners wanted to get this fixed and how to control that. They started by putting up a little sign over here that said no left turns. Maybe they put up 2. And guess how well that worked? Right? Didn't work at all. I don't think anyone paid any attention to it. So everyone's still turning left here and getting whacked. Or people will come out here and try to turn left and merge, which is even more dangerous because you're crossing one lane of traffic and trying to merge in, 2 lanes of traffic, and trying to merge in with a different direction of traffic. And even more people got whacked. And so not good. And so we retrofitted this, like they used to be straight out here. We retrofitted this with this big pork chop. We call this a little pork chop island in here. We call this kind of an entrance a right in, right out entrance. So if you're headed southbound, you can turn right into it. Whoa, go back. Shouldn't have clicked the button, sorry. And if you're leaving, you can turn right out. And so we call that a right in, a right out. So that's what it's called, right in, right out setup through here. Because it's 55 miles per hour, we couldn't put this curb, there's a curb here, we couldn't put this too close, even though it's mountable, we couldn't put it too close to the travel lane, so it's on the edge of the shoulder. So we had to offset this thing over. Usually, at a low-speed urban, you would move this closer. So we had to push this thing over about 12 feet off, which we had to taper this out. You can see the taper over here. We had to taper this out. See that line there? It's all tapered out through there, and we extended this out flat, so you come in like a flat trajectory, because if you make this too small, people will just go whoop, and whip right around it and come right in there. You know, how you like those sound effects, Tyler? And same going back out through there. So we honestly designed this to be that you're parallel to this movement as much as possible coming out. Just try to get people to stop doing it. So built this thing. It's about $300,000 project. It's pretty small in the big picture of things. Guess how well this worked? Yeah, that's right. Didn't work at all, right at first. Well, it did work. It definitely discouraged people, but now only the bold are doing it. They're coming up here after we built this. They come up here, they pause. You can see them waiting for it, right? As soon as they get a gap, they make a big U-turn, still get in there. Like, oh my gosh, this is like the biggest restrictive island I've ever seen built, and on purpose. It was made huge just stop that, right? And people were still doing it. Well, it's a pain in the rear, though, right? Even the bold and the beautiful who want to make that U-turn and get back in here, even they thought this is a pain in the rear. And right down here, right, here's a traffic signal. Oh, those are fairly safe. And you come down here, right up in here, and you can still get to, this is the Chalet Party Shop, which is a liquor store. You can still get to your liquor store, you can still get to the restaurant, whatever else you want up here, prom and pageant, apparently. And very safe. And when you leave, instead of taking your life into your own hands, if you want to turn left, hey, come down here, come out to the stoplight and get an arrow and turn safely north. Excuse me. Well, eventually, 6 months later, a year later, people stopped doing it. As time went on, I almost never saw anybody do that U-turn anymore. But right at first, they were adamant, daggone, we were not going to stop them from getting into that shopping center. Okay, that is today's lesson. Sorry about the coughing. Aren't you glad you're not in class with me? So, there's this. I'm going to post the in-class, I think there is an in-class one today. Maybe there isn't. Maybe it's tomorrow. Anyway, I'll be posting this. In the future, I'm probably going to be posting some quizzes as well in Blackboard, and to make sure you're all keeping up with things. All right, so watch this. Leave comments in the comments. Maybe I'm going to close the comments. I probably don't want to hear what you had to say about my narration. But let me know how it goes, and make sure you can hear this. Send me an email if you can't hear this well, or if you have comments about how terrible this broadcast was, or ways to improve it. Except for coughing, I know that's bad. Right? Tried my best through there. Man. All right, we're almost done. So you'll find one of these narrated videos probably each day from now on in a folder on our Blackboard site through there. If you don't want to hear the narration, that's fine. Right now, there is stuff that isn't written on the slides I talk about, so this is the way you know that. Right? If you want to print your slides out and write notes in from the stuff I say, I'm not going to give you the fill in the blank ones, because I don't think everybody's probably going to be able to print stuff and use up your print quota, or maybe you're at home and you don't have a working printer or something during this time. So I'm giving you the straight up slides that don't have blanks in them. It's not like before, not the handout versions where you had to pay attention. But still, do take notes. The next test is probably going to be open book unless you vote for it not to be. And so comments I make are fair game. How's that on there? So if you want to write notes in on the slides, you can have those in front of you, or as a PDF, you can annotate a PDF, pretty sure, and drop notes in electronically as you listen to this very erudite and learned narration of these slides. All right, hope this works. Thanks a lot. See you later.